We identify as fun.
I can see the color.
Our pronouns are LOL, LMFAO, ha 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 ha.
So there are aspects of my life that I will never reveal. That are between myself, my family,
and we became
and my
who we
God.
are because of that past and that history. We became strong women because we know who we are.
Our fundis and all of that. I mean, I heard the audible voice of God.
It wasn't a
On the
decision.
bed.
That one, yeah.
Like Christ himself.
What was that about?
I don't even
So
know. I
you
don't
can't
know.
just trust the person who was able to initiate a relationship with your husband knowingly and trust them with your life, with your kid.
A fancy restaurant in a beautiful place in South Africa, and he left you with
Love them.
7,000
Foods, babe. He's not circumcised.
I meant our sex.
Our sex. Meaning I already do it.
Yes.
Will it marry what you say you're doing? Which
The show is Engineer Your Life. I'm Lungelo KM. Guys, welcome. We've got Mpho Pops at what is it called? This show. Nobody knows what it's called actually.
Road to 1 million.
But
we're already here.
Yeah. So why is it called a road?
My brother with the matric jacket blazer. This one is popcorn and cheese, but hashtag road to 1 million at Sunbed.
That's the name of the show. Road to 1 million at Sunbed.
Yeah.
Podcast and chill meets popcorn and cheese.
Yo, what's got Nink?
Yeah.
Gents, thank you, man, for joining me, and thank you for giving us your time. So, Engineer Your Life. I'm from Durban. I'm Lungelo KM.
Sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Ratidisa, no. We have manners at home. We're taught to say sorry when you have to say sorry.
Welcome.
And he's doing well. Gents, how's been the journey on popcorn and cheese?
Yo, Robito.
How has been the journey? The journey has been amazing. We're on episode 20 now. Started on episode 1. Now we're on 20. Angithi laba abanye abayazi wine. So for those that don't have Mets certificate, we are accommodating the ones that have Mets lit. So from 1 to 20, 0 to 100.
Yo, kuningi la.
Real quick.
You know the funny story about popcorn and cheese? It was like Trevor's book, Born a Crime. What did you? Because we broke into Podcast and Chill Studios. Yeah. So we went to David Mashabala Studios, and we literally told Mac, we're like, "Yo, bro, we're gonna break into the studio and record an app for ourselves." And he was like, "Sharp." You know, man. And we Mac goes, "Sharp, gent." And then we're like, oh, and then the three of us were outside the parking lot and we're like, are we going to do this? And we did it. Yeah. Literally, last year, December, we broke into David Mashabela Studios on the set of Podcast and Chill. And here we are, 20 eps later, at Road to 1 million at Sunbed.
Gents, how do you feel about joining at this later stage of the game in terms of the podcasting space via Podcast and Chill Network? Or do you feel like it was the right time?
My man, it's never too late to start or too early to start.
Yeah.
You understand? You can become an athlete tomorrow.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Actually, no, the feet, the potris, potris Devon, right? It's a potris, but they are Devon. No. Kela defeated the Anglo Boers.
With floods now, yo, the road is.
Ilem better potris. Yeah. But yeah, man, the journey has been. I don't think because of how different we are.
Yeah.
I don't think that we actually see how far the other podcast is, because we're just different. We just do our own thing. We are figuring things out that they've probably never had to figure out. So I think that we're just doing our own thing, and I don't think we even understand that I don't think we understand how 20 episodes feels like, because it's so natural.
Yeah. If you are confused by what Titi is saying, so are we. As far as the podcast is concerned, like it's just lighthearted humor and like next level energy.
Specifically for you, Mpho, bro, you are crossing over between traditional, conventional, commercial media to podcasting, which is digital. Yeah. What's the difference for you, and which are you enjoying more?
You know, my brother, I'm a Yonkin Sipo kind of guy. Yawasha. You understand? I think if you grew up like us, you'll know that a bar of sunlight soap can be used to wash yourself, dishes, car.
Yeah.
You can create it.
Yeah.
You can do many things.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've always wanted to be like a sunlight bar of soap. I wanted to be that Mpho that can go anywhere. So for me, honestly speaking, I've done everything
under the sun.
And I'm gonna continue to do everything because that's the only way you grow. It's the only way you learn.
Yeah.
So I want to be the type. I remember when I started comedy, Chris Forrest once said to me, I need to be able to put you in front of any audience and you must kill. Meaning it must be a white audience, black audience, international audience, local, vernac, doesn't matter where. And that's the approach I'm sort of taking with entertainment is, if we're going to do something dope, let's do something dope on the net. Let's do something dope on TV. It doesn't matter what the platform is, what the thing is. As long as we're doing dope-ish, I'm there.
Almost like a musician when some people are so scared to switch genres because they're like, yo, I'm known for hip-hop, I can't change to piano. You're an artist.
You're an
Evolve.
artist. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This thing of I don't think you can box us. Like now, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What does Robot Boy do?
Everything under the sun.
Exactly. you can't say Robot
and
is
he's created everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Robot Boy is an entertainer.
He's
Full
an
stop.
entertainer. I get
He's not
that.
a digital entertainer. He's not a dancer. He's not a singer. He's not a comedian. He's everything. You understand?
Yeah.
That's how we move.
Yeah.
It's confusing. That's Titi.
Is that his talent?
What do you mean? No, and we are in the industry of humor, bro.
Sure.
Yeah, wherever there's humor, it's our industry. It doesn't matter where it is, whether we're telling jokes on rocks or we're telling jokes online. I don't think that anybody should. I think those classification things, it's what's killing us. So we should just get away with classification. Just enjoy what somebody is, you know? And it's nice to be in the industry of humor.
We identify as fun.
I can see the color.
Our pronouns are LOL, LMFAO, ha 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 ha.
Mina ngiyibona le rainbow. Lela egcwele kumpho. James, one more question. One serious question here for the culture because we need one.
Okay.
What's your is there a quote that you live by and what is it?
Jazz imenati kokas. Aha. Why ningalali makhaya? Can you feel it?
Yeah, bro.
At the end of a day, it's the beginning of another day.
AD blow van ons hemel, AD diepte van ons
Oorzicht gelgerbechtes van die karse advent
Exactly.
It's a call to come together. United we shall stand. Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa, our land. Boom. Yeah.
This laugh is genuine, Kulego, because that was incredible.
Yeah, that was great. Like, the guys
that was crazy, right?
Thank you to Mpho Pops, Robot Boy. I'm so sorry. I didn't.
It's
well, so that means all of us are.
Yeah.
Now I'm quite sure. Okay, I see. That means he has a career to build so that everyone knows him. Shout out to the guys. They're very funny though as well.
They're very funny. It's something different for me, definitely.
Yeah. I could see. Like, I love humor, bro. I was bursting out laughing as they were talking as well. I think the question that you were asking them is actually very important. The idea that they're joining. So we're here because Podcast and Chill has reached a million subscribers, and they invited us to come and chill with them, and we're mingling with the people. So thank you to MacG, thank you to Soul Penduga, thank you to Jason who was speaking with me, and everyone else who were part of inviting us here. You know, and you asked them something very important because in terms of content creation, I'm a huge advocate for people to be independent.
Sure.
The idea that they arrived at the podcast whilst they were already like at an advanced stage, they had already built what they had built. Everyone had already known MacG. So how do you fit in the picture?
Yeah.
You know, it's a pity that we didn't have much time. I was curious to hear them. What their response was going to be, but it was like, because they're always lighthearted.
Sure.
It was lighthearted. It was never really a question that they took that seriously. But I think it's an important question that How do you then join a podcast that already has its own fan
Established,
base? It's established. The consumers have already signed up for a specific type of content.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. And they also have Dineo as well, who's bringing out something else that's different. And there's Ama2K, you guys were telling me about those things.
And Zile,
So how do you then become integrated with a new, it's like a film franchise that's already on part 20. Fast and Furious, all of a sudden introducing the idea of racing in boats instead of supercars. You know, how would the fan base of Fast and Furious respond to that? So, maybe one day they will respond to it in a less light-hearted manner. What do you think about that?
I think definitely what's happening there is that there's a certain threshold. Maybe if we'd use scientific methods to understand what the threshold is, where you become so famous that it's you within these 1 million subscribers, it's not just only your core fans.
Yeah.
So there are people who are looking for other things within the network. So by offering them an Ama2K podcast, maybe some person subscribed because there was a 2K who was being interviewed once, 300 episodes ago, and then all of a sudden when you create a podcast specifically for Ama2K, this person finds that niche and is like, oh my gosh, I found my home within the network.
Yeah.
So I think because they have a big number of people quantity, they are able to say, okay, Dineo will be watched by 50,000 people, Gulo 500K that we do every week. It's fine. We'll take Dineo only getting her 50K because it's Dineo on sex and mental health.
And
so
over time, that audience
can grow because now we have the finances, we have the liberty to experiment. Yeah,
it's interesting. I was also curious about the idea of money. It's a pity that this setting, everyone is vibing and everyone is here just to enjoy music and booze and all of that shit. But I was even curious about the idea that, okay, now that you then welcomed into this family, what are the financial implications of that? Given that if you were starting your own podcast, for example, as opposed to hopping on another one, what do you do? Do you then say on the specific episodes that are Popcast and Chill, is it Popcorn and Chill?
Popcorn and Cheese.
Popcorn and Cheese, thank you. So on those specific episodes, what happens then? Do you isolate them, and whatever money is made from AdSense, you then take it away and distribute to the people who are doing that show, or
are they on salaries?
Yeah, you ask the boss to pay you. So I think that would have been another interesting one as well. And I bring this up because I always speak assuming that there's like people who are interested in content that are listening.
Oh, Kolego, there's no payments at all because, for example, let's say you're at Dineo and you have hiccups with your previous employer, which is a traditional media station.
Yeah.
So you realize that in this industry you have to remain relevant. And MacG is your friend, and you say, MacG, I need a show because I can't be off air. And being on a podcast means I remain on air as unlimited, inverted commas. So I'll come for free because me being on air on the podcast means I'm still getting my DJ gigs. I'm still a relevant person.
Yeah,
I'm still an influencer. I'm still commercially viable.
That's an interesting theory, but you have to, now we're speculating anyways. We don't know the facts around this. We don't know whether or not the guys are being paid salaries and all of that stuff. But I've seen Dineo do content. I don't know whether she was being helped by people around her, and I've seen the stuff do 200,000 and 400,000 views, and I would imagine that that's sufficient for her to just have a team around to pay a videographer, pay a sound person, for example. But I'm saying again, like, we're speculating.
Yeah.
So that's another option to accept zero. The exchange there would be that I'm in a platform where there's a lot of people that are watching, and I then continue to be relevant. But I'm countering that by saying that I've seen her do her own thing. Like anyone who's on YouTube now watching us, they can just search on YouTube and they will see a video, just Dineo Ranaka, older videos like 2 years back. I thought at some point last year or 2 years back I would see her do her own shows because I started seeing her. I think it was a Baby Daddy series or whatever the case is.
Yeah. She did one episode where she actually wanted to launch a podcast.
That's what I'm saying. Like if the logic is that, I know that it's undeniable how big Podcast and Chill is. I'm just saying, like, if then there's no financial benefit, you can then, just like Ugogo Scotten, you can then just launch your own thing and gamble on the idea that I'm starting from zero. Which is what a lot of creators have to start from, and then make that money if you can make it within 12 months, meaning that you're investing on content, investing in the videographer, sound, lights, and everything else. So, anyways, that's an interesting question to pose to people who are in that scenario. It's just that, of course, we never really got to ask those questions. You never really got to ask those questions because of the vibe, anyways, because no one is thinking about serious stuff as we are here.
Sure.
I think people underestimate how big 10,000 people are.
Yes.
I think people underestimate that because I think we cross. It's like you're looking at your marks and you got 40 out of 100, and then you look at your mate, you see them getting 70 out of 100, and you think, okay, mine is not good enough because they're getting 70. But I think given that MacG got to 1 million subscribers, I think it's an interesting question to be asked about a lot of other content creators. How good enough is 10,000?
Yeah.
In your case, you're doing Engineer Your Life. Sometimes you get 5,000, sometimes you get 10,000, sometimes you get 100,000 people watching. And the number of your subscriber count is at what now?
12,500.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good number for someone who just did it on their own and started from the bottom.
Yeah,
you know,
absolute zero.
You can
no.
You don't
nothing.
have a career from radio, TV to fall back on. You know, so I think it's interesting that have you given it a thought that how big is 1 million subscribers? Like we celebrating MacG now, congratulating him for
1 million.
1 million subscribers. But another thing that's happening on the undercurrent here with this creation is that people are starting to underestimate the importance of having 10,000 human beings commit to watching you.
True.
And some people can stop podcasting because they did it for 6 months.
I'm not getting 1 million. Because I'm not getting 1 million.
Can you please speak on that?
Yeah. It's very important because I always say, even with you, we were speaking earlier about how we respond to comments, and you were saying it can distract you if you constantly read comments, because 10,000 is already a lot. If you're going to read 400 comments on your post, would you wake up in the morning and have 400 people come into your bedroom and listen to their opinions at the same time, right? Right now, the Sunbed Arena accommodates 8,000 people. Why is that an achievement for MacG and Podcast and Chill, even though they have 1 million subscribers? It took them a bit of time to sell out this venue and get 8,000 people, because now we're going to see physical humans take out their money and their resources. We're going to spend time with them, exchange energies, and there'll be 8,000 of us in a room to just connect for content. For digital content, how brilliant is that? So if we start understanding it at that level, then we will appreciate people who have 3,000 subscribers, and we will say, keep going, be consistent, keep shooting, because just because you have 3,000 subscribers, you can have a video that's on 50,000 views. Don't worry. You can have a video that's on 500,000 views with 3,000 subscribers. You don't know what the algorithm will respond to you when and how.
Yeah, I think we conflate also, just because we can be able to contrast and compare. For a very long time, shows on SABC2 didn't know how well shows on SABC1 were doing.
Yes.
And they didn't know how well shows on SABC3 were doing. Everyone was kind of minding their own business. Isitingo would win 13 awards in one night on the SAFTAs.
Yeah.
Just because they were being evaluated on the strength of their creativity, right? On their strength of their story. And then at some point, the BRCSA starts reporting on numbers.
Yes.
The Broadcast Research Council of South Africa starts reporting on numbers. And they start telling people that there are only 1 million people who are watching Isitingo on prime time at 6:30, right? And versus 7 million people who are watching Generations or Skim Scam. Exactly.
Yeah.
And now we stopped evaluating the strength of the creativity and the strength of the story of Isitingo.
Power.
And then they said close down because you can only amass 1 million people, whereas in Dangazako on other channels, which are free to air, at the same time, they are amassing 3, 4, 5 times more than you are. And then they have to can that show because it's not making money.
Because now the main metric is these numbers. People are no longer looking at content quality.
But when they didn't know the numbers, they bowed down to the creativity of Isitingo because all they were rated up or they were evaluated on was their creativity and the strength of their stories and the strength of their writing and their script writing and the strength of their actors and the actresses. You know, so I say that to say, like, even with what we're doing in content creation, Justice as Justify, you have Engineer Your Life, and everyone, everything as a music, Ustef and Ria were doing everything as a music. There was no need, or there is no need for them to panic, or you to panic, or myself to panic when you have 5,000 views on a video.
Yeah.
That's 5,000 human beings committing to watch, and it will tell you on average how many minutes they watched. If on average people sat down to watch you for 10 minutes, I never have an episode that's less than 10 minutes on average in terms of watch time. It's usually 15, 30, 20, 25. And I'm happy that I can commit 10,000 people to sit and watch 25 minutes on those long form videos.
In a data expensive country, mind you. In a very data expensive country.
Absolutely. Just speak on that as well, like the pressure of those numbers and how you approach them.
I mean, the pressure is I won't lie and say you as a human you can't ignore it, because people like Mac G here who have invited us, thankfully, have created a template sort of to say that you can break boundaries with the numbers, which we didn't know could be broken. So you sit there here and there and ask yourself, Ogote, how can I enter those levels of numbers? What are they doing right? What is the formula, if there is a formula? And you know what? You'll live a life of peace if you just focus on the content.
Yeah.
Because if you think there is a formula, then you haven't figured out that in life you must let go of things you can't control.
Yeah.
There are things you can't control. And right now I understand that I can control my content. I can control how I speak, how I present myself. The small things that we can do, the technicalities, as you can say, in the title, the thumbnail, those I can do. But everything else, I can't change who I am. And if you're at peace with saying this is who I am, you will be fine. You'll be fine.
Just last one on, again, 1 million subscribers, podcast and chill. I just want us to hop on the idea that, because the TikTok story, talk about the TikTok story and the 1 million views and failing to commit your audience.
Right.
And compare that with what's happening here.
Perhaps the big comparison is long form video versus short form video. Long form videos captures your emotions. It makes you think, it makes you reflect, and it makes you take actions on the things that you heard about. Short form videos, it probably entertain you for your 30 seconds, that's 7 seconds, and you do a bunch of these. Maybe if you're a content creator on TikTok who does these 10, 30-second videos every day for a good 2 years, you amass a million, I think it's called followers or likes on TikTok. You amass a million of them, but then you try host something like this and you only get 20 people showing up. That speaks to the fact that as YouTubers, as creators on YouTube or podcasts, if you are consuming this on an audio version, you guys have people who emotionally connect to the things that you do and who see value in what they are learning and what they gain from it. And that's what I guess Podcast and Chill has done, especially because Podcast and Chill, their method was celebrities a lot at the beginning to amass an audience. The method was speak to celebrities, people who we've never heard what their life story is, how they've become who they are, what their pains are, what their journey is, and people emotionally connected to that. And that's why where they are.